Thanks for tuning into Piggericks. In this video, I will show you 3 factors to consider when to toss or bank so that you can crush your opponents when you play. Please smash the like button and subscribe if you like to win. We will publish videos like this regularly here. When you play Piggericks, you have to toss or bank. So let's look at what to consider when making the decision. In this video, I'm going to give you an overview of these 3 factors first, and then we will jump into the math behind. So let's stick with us to the end so you can understand how it works and crush the field. The first factor is EV math. EV stands for expected value. There are 36 different multiplier combinations how the pigs fall, ranging from 1 to 60 in value. And there's certain expected value we gain on average for each throw. But since you can also lose the points you have already made in the current round when you get a pig out, there comes a point when your expected value becomes negative because the risk you take on is higher than the points you're expected to get. Ignoring everything else, you should toss when expected value is positive and bank if it is negative. The baseline of your decision should be that EV. The second factor is where are you relative to your opponent? And if you're very behind, then you may need to be extremely aggressive because how else are you going to win? Here you also have to take into account the quality of the pigs and the experience relative to those of your opponents. The third factor you need to think of is how close are you to the end. When you are close to the end, you may want to toss even though mathematically a bank may be better, but simply because closing the deal is super valuable. So now that we got the basics out of the way, let's take a look at the math. What do we have here? We have a spreadsheet here that I'm going to share with you. Check out the description of the video. On the right side, I've put a picture from the how-to page, and this picture shows the absolute best and worst values that a pig can have. And here on the left side, we have 2 examples of a pig. You can change the attributes. I put in here the average. And at the bottom here, you see all the possible combinations that exists. You can see there's 2 pig outs, and then there's the double jowler here that gets you 60 points, only happens overall 0.25% of the time. And so here you see the net probability how often this happened with the combination of these 2 pigs. So if I change a number in here, the numbers down here also change. Of course, the numbers have to add up overall. They always have to add up to 100%. This is for you so you can kind of change the pigs to something that you want to just try out, or you can look at some actual 2 pigs that you have. All right, so here we see now with average pigs what happens. The chance of a pig out is about 17% if you have 2 average pigs. And the expected value for 1 throw is a multiplication of 6.6. So about 7 points, but 16% of the time you lose all the points that you get. And so this makes for a break even of 39. So I've added here this sheet that shows you the 3 examples: the perfect pig, the worst pig, and the example that you have actually selected in the previous tab. And what I've added here is the starting score and the corresponding expected value. So of course, when you start with 0, then your expected value is perfect, or the absolute maximum, what you're actually supposed to expect. And then as you start with some point, that EV goes down because you have risk of losing those points. And so here we clearly see the difference between the perfect picks and the worst picks. We can see that we have to stop throwing mathematically a lot earlier, around like 27 for the worst picks, while we're supposed to throw beyond 50 with the perfect picks. So huge difference in how we must play when we have good picks and bad picks, if the throw alone would matter. But actually in reality, with the bad picks, you probably have to be a little more aggressive because how else are you going to win? So these are the adjustments that you have to make. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this content. Please like and subscribe and follow us so you can get more content like this.